let's get right into it. I think this scenario in the 46th minute till roughly the 49th minute is really good because it shows the build-up patterns both deep as well as in midfield of both teams. So we get Nigeria kick off. Before we go any further, slight disclaimer, I am both Nigerian and English, so my allegiances for this might make me slightly biased. Let me know in the comments if you can tell which way I'm biased. Just keep a note of these long balls towards Kanu because she's aerially dominant. Anyway, from this, England are able to get in possession, and then we see what was a key part of this game with Ayinde woman marking Lauren James. We also get to see some of England's deep shape. We have the centre backs set up in this 3, and then the wing backs are going to try and push higher in those wide spaces, versus what for Nigeria is on paper a 4-5-1. It's really difficult to put proper numbers to it because Ayinde is constantly tracking James, and so the fact that we have both James moving as well as also Stanway between those lines but tracked makes Nigeria generally look like they're in a 4-5-1 or a 4-1-4-1 kind of shape against England, who typically built with this 3 and then having Walsh sit just ahead and the fullbacks pushing high in those spaces where the Nigerian fullbacks would push to them as they receive the ball. This left Nigeria's centre backs to track the movement of Hemp or Russo into those wide spaces. This system worked quite well for Nigeria, and there were quite a few occasions, especially in the second half, where they were able to turn over the ball in England's defensive third and start counter-attack. We're continuing here in the 46th minute. We've got our 3-1 and Bright looking to play into Stanway, dropping between the lines. Obviously she's being tracked behind this just as diligently as we've got Payne here with Walsh, and then this often forced long ball by England in those wide channels for their forwards to try and chase, but against Nigeria's centre-backs were really canny and very strong. England often ended up gifting Nigeria the possession this way. Okay, so we get a throw-in by Nigeria and we somewhat get to see their 2-4 or 2-3 shape. So on the near side, you're going to end up with your fullback as the play progresses looking to try and support, either overlapping or underlapping, with Tony Payne trying to push over towards that side and help to combine. Nigeria had a strong affinity for playing into this left-hand side and using Ajibade's dribbling ability to combine here with Onumonu to try and take advantage of Kanu at the back post against Daly. This being against England 5-2-1-2 or 5-3-2 shape. Fortunately for England here, they're able to deflect Payne, who dribbles out into a wide space, and then we get to see that cross towards the back post, looking to try and take advantage of Kanu against Daly. Note also the position of your fullback as well as your centre midfielders, who are looking to be in somewhat counter-pressing positions. Fortunately for England, that header comes off the crossbar and they're able to regain possession and move down the right-hand side. England try and transition here with Hemp driving from the right to the left, but I think this is a good example of just Nigeria's discipline and strength here, directing Hemp into a safer position for the Nigerians out wide on the left-hand side. Eventually, this leads to England being deflected in this left-hand side and retreating, but we get to see a bit more of that shape here. So we've got Daly high up on this left-hand side, we've got Bronze high up on that right-hand side, we've got Walsh sitting in front of the rest of the centre-backs, and then we have the other 2 centre midfielders for England, so James and Stanway between the lines, with Lauren James obviously having a lot of license to roam, and Hemp is out here on the left hand side having made that diagonal run from the right towards the left, and James is still being marked as tightly as ever by Ayinde, as she did until James is given her marching orders. We have the back 4 for Nigeria, and the fullbacks are really important because they're expected to try and press out towards the wing backs for England, but also be aware of the fact that England have these 2 forwards and they will split. So on this occasion, it's Hemp trying to work this left-hand side. And so initially, Alozie is defending against her. And so England look to try and take advantage of the fact that it potentially could be a 2v1 if they're able to beat at least this initial pressure. Ball is played towards Daly, who's beyond Kanu, allowing her to get into this dangerous position to cross. Fortunately for Nigeria, they're able to defend it, and Lucy Bronze, with her high position on the right-hand side, is able to quickly regain it for England, and they can set up again into that 3-1 shape. Unfortunately, Nigeria are able to regain possession, and they play this long ball in the left-hand side channel for Onumonu, which is really like a 20-80 or 30-70 ball in favour of England, which unfortunately this kind of ball is what did Nigeria in, because they played a lot of these switches of play where it wasn't really necessary, especially later on where they have numerical advantage, and it just gives England back possession. Moving on, we've got Nigeria building up in what I'd call a 2-4 with Plumptree on the ball at the moment against a 4-1-3-2 by England, where the near-sided wing-back for England, in this case Lucy Bronze, is pushing up to support in that near side against the full-back for Nigeria. Whilst Nigeria's goalkeeper Nadozie sometimes chose to play long from her goal kicks straight to Onumonu, on other occasions, Nigeria were happy to play into those wide spaces for the wide midfielders, despite the pressure, looking for Onumonu to run into the space behind the aggressive wing-back. Unfortunately, Nigeria's combination isn't good in this occasion, and we end up with a clearance out towards this left-hand side for an England throw-in. Okay, so here in the 76th minute, great example of an England set piece. We've got Nigerians defending the 6-yard box zonally, as well as man-marking near the penalty spot. On this occasion, we've got Stanway as both a blocker, but then also a potential near-post threat, because England sometimes did cross towards that near post, especially because if they could block well enough, then they were able to get their danger weapon into that space, and on a few occasions Daly was able to get really great contact, whether with a volley or a header from that space. And so we get to see that here. We've got a nice in-swinger, we've got Stanway blocking here, the Nigerian women markers are kind of struggling to stay with their players, and Daly basically free, looking to try and attack that near post, and she does exactly that with an absolute rocket of a header, which is just about saved. And we've got another example here in the 28th minute, similar kind of positions. We've got England being man marked out here by the penalty spot. We've got blockers at the near post again, zonal markers and man markers. And fortunately for Nigeria, they're just about able to defend this as well. Okay, moving on to England set pieces. We've got a throw-in routine here. I include this just to point out that they had a couple of routines beyond just throwing it up the line or down the line. And so on this occasion, we end up with two forwards, and they'll split to create a space for an easier throw here into Russo or into one of the two that have dropped. But it's really clever because they throw it here into Hemp. She's able to play it back immediately to Bronze, and they basically create this perfect crossing position towards the back post for Rachel Daly. And so we see that. And then I thought it'd be good to also point out that they attempted long throw-ins too. Okay, so moving on to England post the red card. First of all, I just wanted to show them in their defensive shape, where they played with Kelly as the striker, and then they moved Daly into left wing. They had Hemp as right wing, and you had a 4-4-1 shape. Unfortunately, this is one of those long balls again here into Oshuala, but this is, as I referenced earlier in the video, part of why Nigeria really struggled even with an extra player, because they're turning their possession into a contest. So now it becomes a case of, can Oshuala beat both Greenwood and Bright, rather than just passing up the pitch and taking advantage of your numbers. And so you end up with England in possession, looking to try and drop into a 3, where now we're going to have Carter stay initially deep, but she'll try and sneak her way higher up on the left-hand side into more of like a left wing position, allowing Daly to tuck inside into more of a left wide forward or left forward. As we kind of see that here with Greenwood stepping out and England being able to settle into that 3-1 shape. Now with Daly supporting Stanway and the width being provided by Carter and Hemp. And with that shape, England wanted to play into those wide spaces. That allows them to be able to potentially combine and then whip in across, but then also it allows them to be able to counter press towards the touchline on loss of possession. Okay, so touching on Nigeria post the England red card, we've got this 3-1 shape where Plumptree basically is that left centre back. They've pushed Alozie from right back to left wing, and they've moved Ajibade towards the right wing, and then we're just peppering the box. But also Nigeria was still doing those long balls, those essentially 50-50 balls for the Nigeria forwards to contest. And so we see some nice combination here initially in the right hand side, with Oshuala having come over to join Ajibade as well as Payne. They're able to create a really nice crossing position with numbers in the box, but it's defended because rather than using your numerical superiority, you're creating more of an aerial duel, aerial contest, and so England are able to defend. And with that, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, consider subscribing, maybe sharing on social media, having a look at our other videos in the World Cup playlist, and if you've worked out which team I'm more biased towards, please let me know in the comments down below. It goes a really long way. And with that, we're out.